Coming up, an arrest has been made in the case involving the murder of Crystal Rogers more than 8 years after it happened. And more than 150 organizations wrote to Congress in hopes of pausing a plan for a Letcher County prison.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. The time is 6:31 on September 28th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. Brandon, the past few minutes we've been hearing the rain coming down here at WYMT Studios, and it's been pretty loud. So I don't know how long that's going to stick around, but there's definitely rain, and we can confirm.
It's already just about stopped.
Well, even better.
You can already hear that it's trying to move out a little bit.
Slowed down.
Yep, exactly. So we still have some out there. We'll show you some live cameras here in a second, but let's take a look at the last 6 hours. We can kind of watch the progression. It didn't really start until early this morning, even in the northern counties, and it's worked its way across. We have more on the way coming through parts of southern Kentucky. So again, we got a long way to go today. Live pinpoint Doppler radar, you can see one of the heavier bands is just past Hazard here at the station, and we have another band coming in here into play probably the next 15-20 minutes, so be aware of that. And again, everywhere this morning has the possibility to see some heavier bands of rain and maybe a couple rumbles of thunder. Here's downtown from Triangle Park, and you can see it's pretty wet out there, so watch out, be careful. But the big story is it was foggy this morning. Now it's not. Pushed it right out there, and temperatures actually going up with the exception of Pikeville, Hazard, Logan, and Williamsburg. Everybody except for Southwest Virginia, because they're always a little bit cooler, is in the 60s this morning. So be ready for that to continue to be the track there. Only one spot, actually two spots, maybe a few spots, let's put it that way, a little cooler than it was this time yesterday. Jackson 1 degree colder, Logan and Williamsburg 2 degrees colder, 3 degrees colder in Pikeville, and 4 degrees colder in Wise. But everybody else pretty warm out there this morning. We'll see those rain chances continue off and on into the afternoon hours. Hopefully they get more scattered when we make our way into the mid-70s for daytime highs. Olivia?
Brandon, thank you. A major break in the disappearance of a Kentucky woman more than 8 years after the Bardstown mother was last seen. Brooks Houck is charged with the murder of Crystal Rogers. Houck, Rogers' then boyfriend, has been the only publicly named suspect in the case. He was arrested yesterday morning. Court documents show he's facing charges of murder and tampering with physical evidence. Rogers' body has never been found. For years, the unsolved case has gripped the community.
People in this community are, I don't know if they're smiling as much as this sigh of relief that there is an answer.
Houck is being held on a $10 million bond. He is scheduled to be arraigned next Thursday, October 5th in Nelson County Circuit Court. Yesterday's arrest comes more than 8 years after the investigation began. It started on July 5th, 2015, the day Rogers was first reported missing by her mother, Sherry Ballard. By that point, she hadn't been seen or heard from for 2 days. More than a year into the investigation, more devastating news for Rogers' family. Her father, Tommy Ballard, was shot and killed on November 19th, 2016. His murder still remains unsolved to this day. 5 years into the investigation, we saw new movement in the case. In August of 2020, the FBI took over to lead the investigation. That led to a flurry of search warrants, but no arrests were made. Then in October of last year, the FBI conducted a new search, this time at a Nelson County farm owned by the family of Brooks Houck. After 5 days of searching, the FBI confirmed evidence collected at the farm had been sent for testing. And earlier this month, the first arrest is made in the Crystal Rogers case. Joseph Lawson is arrested in connection to the disappearance of Rogers. He's charged with criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. That brings us to yesterday with the arrest of Brooks Houck. After the news broke, Governor Andy Beshear shared his thoughts on the arrest made in the case. He said in part, quote, "It's good to see progress in the case, and I hope it continues to give the family the belief that we will get this case solved and that they will get justice for their daughter. I'm grateful for all those law enforcement agencies for their work, and they'll be releasing information as they can. We want to make sure that we do not compromise the investigation or any of the steps they've taken." September is National Recovery Month, but Perry County officials say there is a lot of work that has to be done year-round to make a difference in the recovery community. WYMT's Madison Carmouche has more from some of the people behind the Recovery Ready community.
Governor Andy Beshear has named Perry County a recovery-ready community. This comes after the county's numerous recovery efforts have come together and been the change they want to see.
It really is a team effort. I mean, everybody works so well together. In Perry County, Eastern Kentucky, we all look at each other as family. And that especially goes for stuff like this because we don't want to lose family members. So we all work together because it has been our family members, our own family members. It could be our family members, and that's the way we look at it.
The Recovery Ready Community Program was announced in June of 2022. Communities were able to apply to have their recovery efforts reviewed.
And we scored really high. We scored 275 out of 300 possible points.
Commonwealth's Attorney Scott Blair says Perry County went from number 8 in fentanyl overdoses to number 20 in Kentucky.
I hope it gives us incentive to want to try harder to get down to number 120 in as far as fentanyl goes in the last county in the state for fentanyl overdoses. That's the goal.
One of the main goals in Perry County is to release the stigma against substance use disorders so people can feel comfortable getting the help they need.
We do get a bad rap here. I mean, everybody says, oh, Eastern Kentucky, you know, but I think this just goes out and shows everybody that, yes, we do have a lot of issues and problems, but we're working hard to fix them.
State officials say it is because of the strong coalition of recovery providers that Perry County is a leader in the industry.
You know, Hazard's leading the way. We're going to lead the way, and it's good that people are seeing that. We have to continue to work together.
Officials say that to be recognized by the governor only makes them want to continue working hard to change and save lives. In Perry County, Madison Carmouche, WYMT Mountain News.
Perry County recovery professionals say that if you or a loved one needs help with a substance use disorder, it is never too late. You can find more on our website. Police in Powell County are asking for your help in finding a stolen ATV. Powell County Sheriff's Office deputies believe the vehicle in question was stolen Tuesday in Lee County. The ATV is a dark green Honda Foreman utility four-wheeler. Police say it was last spotted on Natural Bridge Road with a man with long hair wearing blue jeans and no shirt driving it. If you have any information about where it might be, you were asked to call Powell County Dispatch immediately. More than 150 organizations delivered a letter to Congress asking them to pause legislation fast-tracking plans for a prison in Letcher County. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to folks for and against the prison that's been talked about for many years.
Plans for a federal prison here in Letcher County continue, but some folks are concerned about its impact.
And it was only 2 months after the flood last year that we were told that we were going to be getting this prison. So it's almost like kick you while you're down type thing.
The Bureau of Prisons hosted a public meeting in November, but leaders say discussions started before.
We were in meetings well before the flood. It just so happened that the first public meeting was a couple months after the flood had hit. So public perception-wise, people thought that we were using the flood as a tool to push this project forward, and that's just not the case.
Concerns also included potentially unfriendly tactics to the environment, adding to flood damage.
There would have to be tremendous environmental restructuring to build a prison. Prisons are like a small city, and there has to be all the services there together.
Planners say it would be a medium security prison. The facility would still create hundreds of jobs in the county, but those in opposition say that would not go to locals.
There are these jobs promised. However, it will be years or decades before that would be primarily by local people.
Supporters of the prison say they need experienced staff to begin work.
I don't want to start any sort of facility with a rookie staff, but then they'll incorporate locals into the mix, and then as time goes, more and more locals will be hired in.
Justice also said that folks should not be overly concerned about safety, for the Bureau of Prisons told him that an escaped inmate and other similar situations are rare. In Letcher County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Republican candidate for governor, Attorney General Daniel Cameron appears to clarify his position again on Kentucky's abortion law. At a campaign stop in London Tuesday, the Herald Leader reports Cameron indicated he'd only add exceptions for rape and incest, quote, if the courts made us change that law. In an audio recording, Cameron said he supports the Human Life Protection Act. The comments come a week after he appeared to soften his stance on the state's abortion ban, stating if he was presented a law with exceptions, he'd sign it.
.641 here on this Thursday morning. We're tracking some bands of heavier showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder out there in a line from basically the Kentucky-Ohio line down to the Kentucky-Tennessee line there. Heavier pockets of rain in parts of the Lake Cumberland area and in parts of the Kentucky River as well. We take a look at temperatures there in the 50s pretty much area-wide, or not 50s, excuse me, 60s pretty much area-wide with the exception of a few 50s out there. Most of the areas that are a little bit cooler in southwest Virginia along the border, some warm air trying to push through. Out the door forecast, we're going to take a trip into the mid-70s this afternoon if we can get these showers and storms to become more scattered, which it looks like they will do a little bit later on today with that cold front pushing through. Olivia?
Thanks, Brandon, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:42. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Time's running out to avoid a government shutdown. Stay with us to find out why some are still holding out.